So let me ask you a question, gentlemen, like your big brother, like your uncle. Let me ask you, fam, real talk. How do you rank among other men? What do you rank around other males? Of the half of the population, where do you rank? And when was the last time you checked your ranking? See, hold up. I know right there that a lot of you guys are like, well, I don't know where I rank. I feel like I'm pretty good, or I feel like, you intuitively, a lot of dudes kind of think they know, but that's the problem. So for the guys who say they're lower at the bottom, this is gonna hurt. But think of it as hurting like getting your a broken bone set. Here's the thing: most men stopped finding out where they ranked in high school. In education has been the last time a lot of dudes, we all had to go through a process. See, some people played sports, some people didn't play sports, but everybody went to school. And in school, we had rankings. You ranked at a certain place in your class, and you also had your grades. So we determined who was better than anybody else based upon grades. In sports, you do it by the score. But men, we always seek ranking. If the last time you actually kept your rank was in high school, I'm going to tell you this: you are behind. I can tell you that for almost a 100% fact. If you stop keeping score where you ranked when you graduated high school, your eye is off the ball. See, just like you'll rarely find, I'm not going to say never, but just like you'll rarely find a beautiful woman sitting on YouTube on somebody's comment section with just an avatar or a nameless badge or an initial. Beautiful women like to be seen. And men, we like to compete. See, a lot of times, guys, what we do is you stop looking at your ranking because you know you at the bottom. Not even hedging the bottom. You in the lower 25 or 10 to 25%. And we got to do something about it. So, in a state of nature, when you move all this stuff away, the modern conveniences, the internet and all this other kind of stuff, when we're just in a state of nature, like some Walking Dead type shit, how do we keep score among men? Fighting and fucking. That's how we keep score. We war and we have women. So, especially if you're not competing for women, you're out of that side of the game. So you got to look at your life from a resource. So here's what it is. It doesn't matter if you're IPMOR, MGTOW, Red Pill, whatever. This is going to be relevant because, dude, the competitive men, you can see them. They're here on YouTube. Competitive men tend to be out there in front. A lot of you non-competitive dudes tend to call yourself introverts. Introvert is a lot of the guys say to soften the blow is saying I'm just not competing. What determines your rank? Glad you asked. What determines your rank? You can look at your image, which amounts to your appearance, behavior, communication, digital footprint. But you can really look at the way you look, your looks, which is your appearance. That is one part of your rank. You know whether or not you're a good looking dude or not, classically handsome or not. You know if you're fat. You know if you're short. You know if you're bald headed. You know if you're ugly. Come on, man. It's easy to pick out the competitive dudes because the competitive dudes, they're not all good looking. They're not all tall and muscular and ripped. It's an attitude. So you can't sit back and say, well, I'm not competitive because I'm short and ugly. No, there are plenty of short, ugly dudes out there competing and winning. Look at CeeLo. Hey, man, I'm going to pull it out. Like I said, it's going to hurt because I got to jar a lot of you guys into reality. And the reason you're not in reality is because a lot of you guys are just lackadaisical, apathetic, and lack hope because there's nothing to compete for. So we got to look at your looks. And yes, you can do something about your looks or appearance. Then you have to start looking at your material possessions, like your home, your apartment, your condo, your car, that kind of stuff. Let's start with one thing that every man has to use to keep score: money. See, the reason is there are no real standards out there for guys, so it's easy to fly under the radar and not be judged. But I'm going to tell you, you know whether or not you are earning and making the kind of money you should be making for your age. Let me tell you right here. I've counseled too many guys who are in their 30s and 40s and they are behind this scheme. So what you need to do is we're starting from age 18 years old. You're out of high school. You can go to the military. At this age, you need to be making for the CIA scale. This is the bare minimum to be at the normal rank. At the normal rank, average, everyday dude. This is my scale. This is my scale for just average, everyday dude. To be right there in the sweet part of the bell curve. For every year, you need to be making $1,500 per year. So my scale is this, $1,500 per year. So if you graduated from high school and didn't go to college, you need to get out and your goal needs to be right here. So at 18, what is 1.5 times, what is $1,500 per year? At 18, $27,000 a year. What is $27,000 a year? That's roughly $13.50 an hour. You know what that is? That is a job at 7-Eleven. You can get a job at 7-Eleven, OnQ, Quick Trip, the Quickie Mart, anywhere for $13.50 an hour. So with a high school diploma and zero skills, you can make $27,000 a year. You can go stock shelves at Walmart, clean toilets, $13.50 an hour. And that is where you start from at 18. And every year you need to make $1,500 more for a year. So if 19 years old and you ain't making $1,500 more and you only work in one job, get your ass back out there because you need to be working 60 hours per week minimum. So if you don't have a $13.50 an hour job, you got a minimum wage job, guess what? That means you're going to have to go work at Subway and McDonald's. But you got to get that bread up. See, first we got to look at income. And I'm going to tell you, the years where you need to really evaluate are 18, 21, 25, 30, 35, 40, and 50. Let's say right now I'm about to hurt somebody. I'm about to hurt you. If you are 40 years old and if you are 30 years old, if you are 30 years old and you are not earning $45,000 a year, I'm not talking about New York City. I'm talking about in the heartland of America, Oklahoma, Texas, Iowa, Idaho, where the cost of living is average. $45,000 a year at 30. You are behind the game. Breathe. Breathe, 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 breathe. What I just did is I gave you a reality check. Because when you get out there and you go to the local bar, pub, Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever, and you in there with the sexy senoritas and all these fine, you out there with other men, this is how you're going to be judged. You're going to be ranked. The reason you can't pull a higher value woman is because your pockets is on empty. The reason your confidence sucks is because you ain't making enough money. You feel fucked up because you ain't making what you should make. And I'm going to say it, plenty of good dudes are sitting on life at below average, content, because it's like you walking around and no one knows, but it's like you walking around. You ever see somebody walk around and knock off? People who walk around and knock off stuff are terrified of somebody finding out they're walking around in knockoffs. But a dude that's living life below walks around terrified that somebody gonna find him out. Ooh, shit, I got messed up credit. That can be fixed. But when you are sitting around at 30 years old and you making $25,000, your goal needs to be straightened up. So do the math and ask yourself a question right here. Pull out your calculator, ask yourself, at my age, am I making the amount of money I should be making? This is minimum. So let's just say at 40 years old, at 40, that means you need to be making 60. At 50, you need to be making 75. That's the minimum. And I'm going to tell you, I have met too many men in the last 6 months, 35, 37 years old, never wore a suit, never owned a suit. Let me say this again, never wore a suit. Last suit they wore was at prom. How do you get to a life and be 37 or almost 40 years old and you've never worn a suit? Remember what I say, If you don't live a life that's broad enough that requires you to wear a suit from time to time, you need a broader life. But you can do that if you're living life below. And see, the thing is, there's so many guys out there that live in life below, and they'll get in these comment sections and they'll start talking about women and the society and everything else. See, if you're way down here on your earnings, you ain't got time to talk about no politics, no bitches, no nothing. Your ass need to go to work.